Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, March the 5th, presented by Mercury. I'm over here at Lake Hartwell for the Bassmaster Classic, but we got the guys at home paying attention to what the water's doing and, more importantly, what the fish are doing. We're going to check in with Tom Mott on Guntersville, which is starting to warm up. We're going to talk to Captain Lee Pitts up there at Weiss Lake, that good-looking dude up there, about what's happening on that big body of water, and also right here at Neely Henry. And then, of course, we connected with Josh Herron to talk about Logan Martin and Lay Lake. And we'll be right back with the guys and get you some information. Don't forget, everybody, Fish Fest this coming up Saturday, March the 12th, 9 to 4. Pro seminars, raffle prizes, free food, and a whole bunch of vendors there to show off their wares. Maybe even some new stuff that came from this Bassmaster Classic right now. But don't forget, March 12th is Fish Fest. And then also come see us on March the 11th from noon to 6. We're going to take you on demo rides in some Skeeters, Falcons, and Bass Cats. Might even have some pro anglers and reps driving those boats too. Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, March the 5th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to head on up to the big lake with Tom Mott. Tom, I bet you and St. Jennifer are looking forward to some nice warm weather, getting out there and throwing some big old baits at some of them fish, huh?
Man, I'm telling you what, Dano, this weather sure is a sight for sore eyes, especially after what Mother Nature's been slinging at us here lately. But it's really it's heating the fishing up. I think we're really starting to see a good migration of fish. I mean, I'm starting to see some waves moving through. In that 6 to 4 foot of water. Grass edges seem to be the area that are really producing. Still throwing rattle traps. You can catch some fish on spinner baits. The water started to clear up quite a bit. Guntersville does clear quite a bit. So there's some areas that you can still get out there and throw a rig, a jerk bait. But I mean, for the most part, it's fairly heavily stained. We did catch some fish fairly shallow, looking at mid 50-degree water temps, even though we saw some real cold weather over the weekend. This warm stuff has just really popped things open. So, it's definitely the time to be out there. I mean, I think right now, you should be seeing anywhere between 20, 25 fish a day, just throwing rattle traps or just about whatever you want to. Swim bait bites really starting to pick up too, and more clear this time of year, that swim is really going to be a player.
What areas of the lake are you going to want to look at? Are you going to still want to be kind of close to that channel, or are you going to want to kind of venture into maybe some of the creeks and start looking towards those fish making those moves?
Those fish are really, right now it seems like they're just starting to make that migration right out of the deep water, right out of the river channel. But they are starting to move back. There are some big fish back in the coves and the cuts, the little drains, that kind of thing. But I haven't seen everything. It seems like the larger concentrations of the fish have definitely been right off the river channel or right off the main, maybe the secondary point going into a cove or something along those lines. But the fish are definitely, they're ready to be there. They're ready to start doing their thing. And on Guntersville, we're looking for a couple of months of it like this. So it's just starting to heat up, guys.
Yeah, and of course, the crappie bite's starting to kick off. You're starting to see fish moving into those creeks and around those bridge pilings and stuff like that. And that's going to carry on for a little while. Hey, don't forget Fish Fest next week, guys. Bucks Island, 9 to 4, meet the pros, raffle prizes, and free food. Tom, thanks for everything, man. We look forward to seeing you again.
All right, Dano, you be safe out there, man. Tight lines.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, March the 5th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to head on up to Weiss Lake with Crappie King of Weiss Lake, Lee Pitts. Lee, what's happening up there at Weiss Lake these days?
Oh, man, I tell you what. For once, I get to give you a good one. We had last weekend and earlier in the week, things were tough. But, man, the sun is out. Things are happening. Fish are biting, and I feel like old Hank Jr., man. I'm feeling better. So it's good, man. They're doing their thing. About midweek, these fish started coming up off the bottom and really starting to feed a little bit. So things are kind of back to normal. We've still got a little bit of stain out there in the water. I've been long line trolling. Seems to be the Bobby Garland baits, the miniminders and the slab slayers. It's a little bit bigger bait. in a blue chartreuse. I'm swapping from an orange Moglo head to a chartreuse head, and I think they can see it a little bit better in some of this stained water. So, things are opening up here. Thank goodness, man. I tell you what, my nerves couldn't take much more of that. So we're back to getting bit.
What about the bass bite? What are you seeing up there at Weiss?
Oh, these guys are going crazy around here with these bass. They've jumped up shallow, and they've had a lot of things going on right now. And so these guys are catching them on square bills, spinner baits, flipping jigs. Fish are up real tight. They're in that nothing to 3 foot of water, back in the sloughs, any kind of rock cover you can find. Some of the, the water came up a little bit, so some of this old dead grass has been holding some fish in it. If you got just a little bit more depth off of some of these grass beds. But from everybody I've talked to, life is good right now.
Okay, turn attention to Neely. What's going on down there? I know it was rough last week with the ABT, but tell me what's happening now that the weather's kind of turned.
Pretty much the same thing. This high muddy water is getting on out of here. We've slowed the current down a little bit. I know the bass guys that I've talked to down there, the bass are starting to move back in some of these little pockets in the bays. Same thing, square bill fishing, chatterbait. A lot of guys are throwing chatterbait, and they're catching some of these fish too there now. So it's got a little chatter going. A little people are getting out of the house and getting back on the water. The crappie fishing has really picked up this last midweek, I'd say, down at Neely. Some of your lower lake, big tributaries that come in, Canoe Creek and some of the big creeks down there. These fish are really starting to wad up in it. A lot of guys still they're throwing a float, but some of these guys are long lining down there and catching good numbers. So thank goodness, man, things are looking good all around.
Well, so are you, Lee. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Y'all be good. See you later.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, March the 5th, presented by Mercury. We're going to be focusing on Lay Lake and Logan Martin with Josh Herron. Josh, what's going on down there?
Man, we're just thankful for a little actual decent weather. I mean, praise hell, praise Dale. It's finally here. Let's just say it doesn't suck. That's a high plus right now.
Right.
They're starting to get the little tingly sensation, I think, man. Favorite time of the year. Bed fishing's not my thing, but I love it when they get up there and start thinking about it. So it's going to be the time of year where you can actually start kind of pushing up shallow, cover a lot of water. You're not necessarily going to be target fishing, but I mean traps, shad wraps, little john. It doesn't really make a difference as long as it's kind of flat and goes fast. And it's a great time of year for throwing flatbaits.
Is the watercolor starting to clear up down there yet?
A little bit, but man, watercolor's not huge when it comes to these baits. You actually kind of want that color. Great part about dirty water is dirty water warms up faster than clear water. And,
That's true. It does.
If you've been cold for 3 months, finding a little warm spot, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, and that's kind of what these fish have got on their minds. We've had dirty water for several weeks in a row now. And this sunshine and warm weather we're going to get coming in this week is really going to supercharge the warming trend on that water, especially the areas that are still colored up. And these fish they'll react to it really quickly. And it's going to be a fun time of the year to start fishing.
Are you going to want to stay kind of close to the main channel around those points? You're still going to look for rock, those kinds of things?
Man, red clay, dude. That's really the thing this time of year. Rock mixed with red clay is even better. You're going to be looking in that like 3 to 4 foot range. The fish will kind of get up there and they'll really belly down on that red clay because it's kind of like a brick wall. You walk outside and you put your hand on the side of your house after it's been sunny all day, that red brick really warms up quickly and it holds heat. So that's a really key thing. I mean, fishing these little transition banks, I mean, the cool thing you can do this time of year is as you're going down a bank, actually look up on the bank, on the water line. When you see places that go from like pea gravel to chunk rock and you start seeing it transition into red clay, those are going to be really good areas. And they're subtle details to us, but they're huge details to these fish this time of year.
Well, man, we appreciate everything. Drive safe, and we'll talk to you again soon. Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, March the 5th, presented by Mercury. Thanks to the guys for everything that they contribute every week. We know and we hear from people that helps them catch a few fish, and that's what we want to have happen. We'll talk to you again next week, everybody, and thank you so much for being a part of Bucks Island.